Welcome into this live edition of Chalk Talk presented by Fast Model Sports. I'm Coach Tony Miller, college basketball coach and host of a Quick Timeout podcast. For a little over a year, I've been producing weekly video breakdowns of some of the best plays in college, professional, and Olympic basketball for Fast Model Sports. And to kick off this new year, we've chose to try to extend this to a live version of FastDraw Chalk Talk. So in addition to the FastDraw breakdowns, tonight we're also going to have some live video and show you some of these sets that hopefully you can use with your program, with your team. Tonight's Chalk Talk focuses on the Boston Celtics 41 series. I had a coach reach out to me here just this week and asked me if I had any 4-out, 1-in sets for his offense team, and immediately these came to mind. They're simple enough that your team probably can pick them up in just a few practices, but there's also enough moving parts and actions within the sets that it may be something that you can use even if you're not a 4-out, 1-in team. And I know that for most of you, several of you that follow me, you're also a pace and space team. And these kind of keep that pace and keep you moving. And as I said before, just kind of naturally flow into probably what you're already doing. So I'd encourage you to at least give some of these a look, an option maybe that you can use with your team this year. I'll give you an opportunity at the end. Probably most of you are connected with me on Twitter. If you want to shoot me in a DM, your email address, I'm more than happy to send you a playbook if you're watching this tonight with each of these. So I'll have those ready for you once this is over tonight. Let me go ahead and jump into this right away. This isn't a time for us to talk about transition offense. However, if you're already a team that naturally runs 4-out alignment, that's the 2 slots there at the top, the deep corners, and then there are 5 men to the front of the rim. Then the beauty of these sets is that you can really just naturally flow into any of these options that I'm going to show you. We've done them with our team, and there's no stopping. There's no really play calling. It's something that the point guard can call as he's coming down the floor, or you as a coach can call as they're running down the floor. And they just seem to not seamlessly flow right into our pace and space half court stuff. So this should fit pretty well with your faster pace teams. All right, here's the first one here. This one is just what you see here on the screen is just a handoff to a back screen. I'm showing you this one. There's nothing super fancy with this, but you can probably get teams right away with something like this, especially since you have that big to guard back screen that's happening there. But your one just comes right down the floor and tosses it back. You have the quick toss back. I know some of you like to create that triple gap right away. So it may not even be something where you need to do anything other than just toss it back to your 4, because while that handoff is happening there at the top, the 5 quickly vacates the ball side and comes to the opposite elbow, and you end up with really a triple gap that 4 can put it on the floor if you have a mobile 4 and take it all the way to the basket and score. However, I know a lot of teams will switch that if they know that's the kind of team that you are. So if they do switch that, then you have that back screen that happens right away, and you can kind of throw it right over the top of the defense there for a layup at the front of the rim. I won't show you video on this one because it leads right into the next one. So you'll actually see this here in just a second when I show you this play. But this is flex. So if you don't get anything off of that, what you see there in screen number 1, frame number 1, is what I just described for you. So I won't go through that again. But immediately goes into frame number 2, what you see here on the right-hand side. You have the cross screen. So you have that flex action. The pass goes from the 4 over to the 5, and while that's happening, you have the 1 setting the cross screen for the 3. So you have the look inside there, the potential for the 3 to have something in the front of the rim. Like I said, we usually get a lot of looks from this, especially if they're not communicating very well. But if that's not open, then it leads into what you naturally see if you run a flex offense. You have the pin down from the 4 to the 1, and you have hopefully a shooter there with your 1 coming off that pin down screen. Again, this is something the Celtics run. So what you see right now is a mid-range jump shot, which I'm sure most of you don't like. So don't fault the diagram here. But you can send them all the way out to the 3-point line. I will say this too, if you're playing against a team that switches, I've seen this a lot. But if the 4 and the 1, X4 and X1 switch, then all you have to do is, instead of curling that, flare that player out to the wing. So flare the 1 out to the wing, and you end up with a wide open 3 from the wing there, because it's a really long closeout for X4. So that's an option. If that's not open, we immediately turn and post. This is frame number 4 now, what you see here on the right-hand side. But this is look inside. So you have the 1 throwing it into the post, and we'll actually go and do the old split cut. So we'll screen for the 5. I know some of you don't have a 5 that shoots. We play with basically 5 guards on our team, so this works really well for us. So the 5 will come off of that, catch, he has an opportunity to shoot. Or we will, a lot of times after we screen, we send the one right to the front of the rim because the three has vacated to the opposite corner. And you have a little bounce pass, pocket pass to the front of the rim for a wide open layup there. So let me go ahead and show you some video of that. This is from one of our actions for one of our sessions here. Let me go ahead and pull it up. There's the handoff, the back screen, look inside, cross screen. This is against switching. Pin down screen, he kind of flares it, throws it inside. There's your split, fill from behind, and then you get an open jump shot there. The videos too, I'll try to put the videos up so you can see the videos. If you want videos of each of these, I'm more than happy to share those with you as well there. So that's the flex option out of the 41 series. Pull up the next one here. Next one we'll look at is the comeback. This one's it's like a very quick hitter. Come down the floor. So frame number 1 there. You have another dribble handoff. And as the dribble handoff happens, you have the 5 moving to the opposite side. So again, you have that triple gap. If you want the 4 to just put it on the ground and go score it, you can do that. But as soon as the 4 gets it, that is signaling the 3 to lift up out of the corner. And you have the green dashed line. That's the second part of the action. So you throw. And as soon as the throw happens, now look at frame number 2. The 4 turns around and comes back. That's where you get the comeback action. 1 curls off of that. And if you have a 4 that shoots, they can pop out to the top of the key there. And you have an opportunity for a 3-point attempt as well. I didn't mention this at the beginning, but I really like these because you end up with multiple scoring opportunities. So if you don't get something out of one action, there's something else there. And it also kind of keeps multiple defenders occupied a lot of times with some of these. So you kind of eliminate help in some of these scenarios as well. Let me go ahead and pull up this real quick for you to look at. Here is the comeback. By the way, as you're watching this, if you want to put something in the chat, if you have any questions about any of these, feel free to ask a question or even a comment or something that you do differently that maybe coaches could use with this, but feel free to comment on any of those. All right, here's your handoff, screen, and then he drives it. So the difference with what you just saw there as he comes down the floor, again, playing against a team that's switching defenses right now. So normally you would have the curl happen if they weren't switching, but this team, like I said, switches and they're kind of a gap defense. So that's why you have the guy, the 1 here, instead of him curling it, he knows the defense is switching, so he goes ahead and stays out. He could have caught and shot that, but that's not one of our great shooters, so he just knows his limitation. Instead, he tries to attack the switch, drives it, and scores it instead. So that's your 41 series, the comeback. I like that one. I wouldn't run that repeatedly, but that would be one that you could run maybe once a game or once a half. And get maybe an opportunity to score off of that one. All right, next one here. Cross is the next one that I want to show you. So cross happens. We'll actually come down and we'll cross the street first. So pretend like it was actually this instead. Okay, so they came down the floor like this, and then 1 is going to dribble across the street, which is where we get the cross from. And 4 fills in behind him, and now the action starts happening. So I have a dribble handoff. So 1 dribble handoff's down here towards the 3, and I want that handoff to happen here at the wing so that I have a shorter pass. I want to make sure that this 2 comes all the way up to the slot. If you leave too big of a gap, I've already seen it happen with our teams, but if you end up with your 2 over here and your 3 over here, that's a really long pass, and I've already seen it get stolen for taken to the other end for a wide open layup. So the timing of these a lot of times is important as well. So as the 1 is coming down, the 3 is coming up to receive the handoff on the wing. The 4 is setting a pin down for the 2 who's coming up to the opposite slot. So I really have almost kind of a wing to slot pass. And then on this side, after the 4 sets the screen, you basically have sets a pin down for 2. You have in frame number 2 a step-up screen, and you have basically a 2-man game on this side of the floor with everything cleared out. So if you have what I have diagrammed for you here is a flare if you have a shooter, but we've also run this, and after that step-up screen, I guess the diagram would be that. And you could throw the ball inside for just an easy pick and roll. Or obviously you could turn the corner and the 1 could go and score it himself there. So again, several options off of that step-up screen there. I'll go ahead and put this back so that when it gets sent to you, it has the right diagram. Again, based off your personnel, you can run whichever of those that you please. Let me go ahead and pull this one up here. Call this one cross, again, from the name that we crossed the street in the beginning of this action. He crosses the street. I got my hand off, pin down on the other side. Sometimes it could just be an exchange if you want. Step up screen. I don't run the end of it well, so that's why I cut it off when I did. But again, we have cross, handoff, throws it, sets a step up screen. That should happen a little bit faster. So you want that to go catch and then step up screen right away. He should have flared out. This is one of the first times that they ran this in the game. So the 1, you want to keep them over here in this slot for good spacing. You want the 4, depending on what he is. If he's a roll guy, then it would be screen into the front of the rim. If you have a roll guy, you want to be kicking out this guy to the corner. That way your spacing is maintained. If it's a shooter, then you can screen and flare up to the top there for a shot. So we call that one cross. All right, next one here is stagger. This is the last one that I have video for. Let me get this one up for you. All right. So as they come down the floor here, you have the dribble handoff. Again, the timing of it as he starts to dribble. So we don't cross the street on this one. But as the 1 just kind of dribbles down the floor here, our 4 is always trailing our 1. But as the 1 comes down the floor, he's starting to initiate the dribble handoff, and that clues the 3 to come up. As soon as he makes the catch, we usually give him 1 bounce, and then we throw it back to the 4. Frame number 2 now, the 4 will turn and throw it down to the corner. So on the pass, we want the 2 to be coming up to meet it there on the wing so that it's a shorter pass. I've seen those get tipped already, so we want to make sure we shorten the pass there. And on the pass, the 3 is turning around to set the first of the pin downs on the stagger, and then the 4 comes over and sets the second. As the 1 comes off, you can either go ahead and throw it right away for the shot, or you can curl it for the drive and score. And by the way, if he passes it and starts to drive it, now you have that push-pull. So the 2 would continue on back down towards the corner, but you would curl it and go score it. If you're playing against a team that switches, so when the 1 comes off of this and makes the pass, if X4 steps up, that means that 3 probably is the one who's now defending 4. It just turns and seals and runs to the front of the rim, and so 2 can look inside to 4 now. And so that's the stagger action there. Let me go ahead and pull this one up. This is the last one, as I said, that we'll have video for. 1 comes down with the handoff, goes in and throws it. Pin down back. They're switching everything on that. And he's going to try to score it. Again, I ended this one because we lost the advantage. This is kind of early on. But a handoff, dribble, pass, turns. Okay, there's your staggers. Hopefully they should be a little bit better than that. Again, we're playing against a team that switches, so really emphasize going and finding a man. But you can see they're go ahead and switch in that one. And we went ahead and made this change. You can see him catch, and then he should be driving all the way down. And the guy who's the 1 here, and the player number 1, should be looking inside. And then we would do our split action again on this side of the floor. So you'd have that, what I kind of showed you there in the first 41 series set that we had there. So that one's your 41 stagger. We get a lot of options off of that one, a lot of looks off of that one. So that one's a good one. All right, here's the last one. Let me show you this one. This is 41 series weave. I haven't run this one before, but this is just employs your triple gap action that we were talking about. So the 1 comes down and hands off, and then I would actually have the 1 go ahead and clear all the way to this side. NBA is a little bit different. You have more spacing, so they don't necessarily do it. But if you're playing high school or college, I would probably have them space out to here to make sure he's down here in the deep corner. And immediately after that dribble handoff, you're following with another dribble handoff. This time, as you see, the 5 stays on ball side, which is different from some of the other ones that I just showed you. But the 4 would come and dribble handoff to 3, and then you have the turn into the corner there to your space. If any of these help defenders, then so 1 would be over here now without the ball. But as if 1 would help, you could have the quick pitch. If 2 helps off the corner, which very rarely happens, but if 2 helps off the corner, then you have the pitch out to 2 for a 3-point attempt there. So just looking to get those dominoes falling, maybe a term that you've used before. Okay, so 41 series there, comeback, cross, flex, handoff, stagger, and then weave. Hopefully that gives you some ideas of some things that you can use there. As I mentioned, if you have any questions about anything, please feel free to send those. I don't see any comments, any so far. If you would like the PDF of this playbook, I'm more than happy to send it to you. Just shoot me a DM on Twitter. You can find me at Tony W. Miller if you aren't already following me there, at Tony W. Miller. And I'll be happy to send those over to you. One last thing here, just in conjunction with Fast Model, I usually get questions from time to time as to what you're using to do your playbooks. This is Fast Model's FastDraw. And if you do not have that yet, you can get 10% off just by using the code AQT10. So if you enter AQT10 at checkoff, you can get FastDraw or FastScout 10% off. Those are great programs. Appreciate those of you who tuned in tonight for this live stream. I'll be trying to do some of these from time to time to give you guys a little bit longer chalk talks, and would be happy to, like I said, share anything. If you have any questions or you're looking for anything in particular, just shoot me a DM and I'll put together a chalk talk, and we'll do one of these hopefully twice or 3 times a month, especially here during the college basketball season. Thanks so much for tuning into this live edition of Chalk Talk. We'll talk to you again next time.